Good morning. Long time no
Good
see.
morning, sir. How you doing?
Good. That's the weirdest podcast intro I ever did, probably. Yeah, it's been, I don't know, 3 years since the last time we did a podcast together, I think.
It's,
Even
I
longer.
don't think we've ever talked English to each other, so maybe we have.
Yeah, that's also, some things have changed in the past 5 years. We just went through LinkedIn. We're gonna put like one of our old videos in the show notes, or the comments. But yeah, a lot of things have changed. We went from being babies to sort of being adults. Uh,
I wouldn't call
that's a
us
lot.
adults, but we were definitely on the cringe level 1,000 back then. So just imagine 19-year-old Fabian and 19-year-old Samuel just literally recording a video about a topic that they have no idea about. That was us back then. But I wondered yesterday, how the hell did we have the confidence? Like, when I look back, what we did, we had that insane confidence that we were able to do it, but I have no idea where that came from.
That's a good question. Like for everyone that didn't see the videos, like I'm gonna explain them. Like it literally is the two of us. I think back then we were like 18, 19. It was like 5 or 6 years ago, I think. And we were telling the world on LinkedIn how good we are at optimizing things and how great our company was. And I don't know, our company maybe was existent for like 6 months back then, not even maybe 2 months. Um, yeah, I don't know where the confidence came from.
Yeah.
Maybe just I think we spent time with Johannes and Snox and just went bowling every day and working all day long.
Mm.
But yeah,
Also, what many people maybe don't know is the way we founded our company is we went and just founded two companies with like 12.5K budget. So we were like 100% baller moving there with no business plan whatsoever. We're now out of the one company, but the other company, so Drip, originally was a jeans company. But that's also funny. And now it's basically the agency that we're now doing.
yeah, it's just crazy. And like looking back, honestly, like I'm so ashamed of some of the things we did back then because we literally had no clue. But I think like obviously it's good. Like if you know and you look back and you were like thinking of yourself, you were stupid back then. So that means you've grown a lot. But I think what we should get in today is like, what did we learn in these 5 years?
Mm.
Because like that honestly is one of the most common questions I get on LinkedIn as well. Like, how did you get started? How do we learn everything? And I don't know. We never really took, I think, time to reflect on that. How did we get where to we are? And I think we just should talk about how do we optimize shops back then? How many shops did optimize? Maybe especially for the German market. I mean, like we're doing this podcast in English because we're switching a little bit. We're getting bigger, more international. But our origins are in Germany, and maybe you remember how many companies back then tested, and how do we actually end up going into A/B testing?
Yeah.
Because we had the jeans company, we built websites for like our local Chinese noodle shop. We ran ads for them, and then suddenly, next thing I remember, we were doing A/B tests.
Mm.
But I think a lot of that part came from you, like that we actually should get into A/B testing.
Yeah, I think the way that it was is so we started out literally just doing optimizations as in we know what's better and that we're based on gut instinct. We were changing things around, changing button colors, and like that's the new thing. And funnily enough, that was also the stuff that we posted on LinkedIn at first post, where like, we did this and then increased the conversion rate by this, but like we didn't know, we just looked in what changed. And I think then 6 months after optimizing it, we're like, it's very hard to tell if these things actually move the needle. We did checkout optimizations back then, a lot of cart, a lot of like cheering and things that other brands did, especially like the States. We always try to do, you know, United States level optimization for the German market at first, which actually worked better than we expected. Um, but it came to a point, at least I think I was also, and you were also learning on CXL. So we did the course like 3 times, I think, learning how to, do optimization. And there was one with the Dutch guy. I don't know what it's called. But he,
Done.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And he basically was like, you have to test. I'm like, what's testing? And then I looked into it, and I was so surprised nobody talked about it. That I told you, and you were like, oh, that's great. That's a cool shit. Um, and then we got started really quickly. Like we moved very fast. And just basically said that's what we'll do. We just A/B test um shops.
Shoot, I remember it very. Oh, I remember it. Like you
I
watched the course, and like we were in the we work at Friedrichstraße in Berlin. You were sitting at one of the tables, and I was like sitting next to the round thing. Everyone that ever asked me to Friedrichstraße is gonna know what I talk about. And you were like running, like almost running to me excitedly. I think at that time we were doing like shop development mainly, because like we couldn't really name it testing or like optimizing what we did back then. You're like, man, we gotta start A/B testing and stop everything else. And see, that's when we started it. And honestly, also crazy because I did a podcast with Ton like last year,
mm,
forgot to release it.
crazy, yeah. It's moved fast.
Yeah, it moved fast. And also,
I
like, that's maybe one thing like everyone should take away. Like, it's not bad making mistakes and doing zero wrong in the beginning. We did it. Like, probably every person that you see out there that's like big in testing, has a big agency, they all made these mistakes. They all thought if you can change based on gut instinct and then just tell the metrics go up. I remember like very clearly the first post I think I ever did on LinkedIn was like a button color change test. Went viral. Like back then, I don't know, like we had like, I don't know, 200 or 300 followers and the post got like 10K impressions. And we got roasted. We got roasted for like posting this. I can like, I think under Morris back then, like one of the big German CRO guys as well. I don't know. He's been doing CRO longer than both of us have been alive. He roasted us, and I think that all like that really was the good thing about posting. Like every time we did something really stupid, we would get called out and just learn from it. Like that's also like what you say with the confidence. Like we weren't scared of like being judged because we're like, well, we just did this. Like I don't know, we post about it and like get feedback very fast. And I would say that's probably like the way we learned like how to test. Like we just put stuff out, and sometimes people would just shit at us and give us very harsh feedback. They would like sometimes we would take it, sometimes it would be like, oh, that's like just someone that has maybe some personal problems or like just trying to be negative. But some of these comments definitely helped us to learn more and like question the way we do things, I think.
For sure, because like a lot of things that we did differently weren't judged, and we're like, why are they not judged? And it's like, because nobody thought of it doing that way. But a lot of things were judged, fairly, and they were like, okay, that's actually not good how we're doing it, and we just changed it. I think it's a lot about, accepting very harsh feedback and just, looking at it from a bird eye's perspective and seeing what can I get out of the feedback. And then if it makes sense, then just change it. Like, yeah, these feedbacks are sometimes like, you are the biggest idiot, blah blah blah, and like, yeah, we are. But then we changed, and then I think it slowly changed that people really didn't roast us too much anymore.
Yeah, like I mean, like, I'm not gonna tell a name, but someone in the industry also told me, like, in the beginning, like, everyone was laughing at us, like, the two idiots posting on LinkedIn, like, the stupidest shit. Then I don't know, like, 2 years in, because, like, also when we do zero, like, we started getting heavily into research, maybe a little bit too heavy. Like, we're probably gonna have a whole discussion on the research, like, the topic of researching things, because we both have, like, very different opinions on it, I would say, which is also, I think, interesting, very fun out there. But yeah, so they started to laugh at us. Then they were like taking us seriously because we won some pitches against them. And we also improved. And I think they did not see that coming. I probably like most of the time we're like, well, they just can keep playing around. We're going to roast them for it. But they didn't think that we would, keep improving at that quick of a rate. Because I think that's something we were very good at. Like we got from like total beginners to, I honestly would say like top 4% of people in zero A/B testing within like 2 years. I don't know how we did it though. Like we watched CXL all the time, and then we just tested. Like felt like it. Like we just had a bunch of clients. We did a lot for Snox. I remember Gotsback back then, PLA.
we had luck in our clients that they believed in us for sure. I mean, we worked very hard for them, so we had not many clients, but they were like, given a 100% premium service because we worked a lot. Well, we worked like 12 hours a day for sure, no, if not more, every day, like 7 days a week. And yeah, for me also a lot of books that like maybe it was like 20 to 30% books, 50% just doing it, and then the other ones just getting roasted and improving by that. Because like if you just have books, book knowledge is not really knowledge that you want to have, but you want to have the background in your mind to be able to think of ideas and combine it.
To that, if we talk about books, which ones do you think have helped you the most?
Hmm. I think the easiest to read is Don't Make Me Think, because the funny thing is the book title actually says what the book, like if you read the book title, you don't have to read the book. I mean, you have, but like, it's actually just about that. And it's such a easy concept, but not many people understand the magnitude of it. It's like, I don't know, 100 pages, and it's really, really good. It's by Steve Krug, so it's an easy read. It's a good book to get started. Yeah. Okay, now your turn, and then we go 1-1.
Oh, I gotta tell, you got me into Geoffrey Miller back
Mm.
then. Yeah, very controversial author probably. But I have to say, Virtue Signaling, I think is my favorite book I ever read, and it's about. I mean, he's like a very big believer that everything is driven by sexual motivations, pretty much. Like to cut it short, so like everything you do, like males or females do, it's all based on sex and evolution in the end.
Yep.
And virtue signaling is like a little bit like a level on top of that. It's like more if you buy a nice watch, you want to signal something to people. If you wear specific clothes, you want to signal to a group. And for consumer decisions, for me, that meant a lot of decisions that are being made are just to virtue signal something. Yes, there are some very essential products, but like, for example, water, groceries, and food like that, you just go to the supermarket. But then even then, it's like about virtue signaling. Are you buying the organic stuff or are you buying the cheap? I can show you there's a brand called Gut und Günstig from Edeka. Like, I don't know, cheapest stuff, different label, most of the time same products in it. But you also virtue signal with that. And I think most decisions that are being made when people buy have to do what peer group they want to belong to, and they want to be the highest status in their peer group.
Yeah, Geoffrey Miller definitely an OG. We even talked with him, I think, 2 or 3 times. And he's a very, very funny guy. But the book is very extreme, and I must say it also like it fucked my brain up on how I think about the world, and also like, how I make decisions. I'm like, what am I trying to virtue signal? So once you have the knowledge, you cannot go back. It's kind of
Yeah.
that, like it's that kind of book, but it's a really, really good book. I would also go into the direction of signaling with the selfish gene was a really big thing for me. Where like it basically says that humans on how they act are bound by a gene that has its only purpose in just multiplying and surviving in the environment, and then getting split when you have sex, and when you get children, then the genes get split. So yeah, that's a big thing. And for me it was just like that human motivations are like not what they say, really what they do. So
Yeah, I think that was a big learning. And also like on the way to like how do you get a good optimizer? We reached out to these offers. It's just where like I don't know, like we probably can't say like how much we spent on Geoffrey Miller, but we spent a ton of money back then. Or like an hour call with him or stuff like that. Like back then was like I don't know, like he probably didn't even have like consult because he just was like putting a number on it, and we were like stupid enough to pay it.
no,
So remember he
again.
showed up. Yeah, I do it again. But I remember he showed up like without even having his camera on. and just like with this world as his background in Google Meets. So instead of having a profile picture, he had like this huge picture of the world from like, I don't know, perspective of the moon, probably something like that. Yeah, it was crazy. And I think that's like honestly one of the things. We then also started pushing the narrative for A/B testing because it's like a very Darwinian approach, or like Darwinism. I don't know how. Like I think it's Darwinism. Like the one that's best adapted to the circumstances survives, and that's what I think. Like reading all the things about human psychology and like how humans behave, talking to all these people that actually do research on that, and then you figure out, oh well, like online shops are just like another organism. Like if you think about a business is an organism. Like you always have to adapt and get better. And then we got really intense on testing. It's like once you're at the point, you're like, well, if you do changes without testing them, you don't know if it's going to work or not. But if your competitors test and they have the data, they're going to adapt faster than you. I mean, like, I don't know, but like to this day, my main thinking is you should A/B test, because if you don't, you're just going to not evolve anymore. And if you don't evolve in a world that's evolving faster than ever, you're just going to die or go bankrupt, and you don't want to do that. So
Yeah,
that's like, I think the main and core motivation how we approach testing. I think we might have gone too crazy at some times, like in our third or fourth year. We can go into that, and like I think that these are some of the biggest mistakes we made in being optimizers. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but that's like the core way of thinking I have to this day is just adapt faster than everyone else.
yeah. I think after the 2 years, what you just said, I want to extend on that is our vision then, like after we knew all this stuff, after we learned, after we practiced a lot, was basically to innovate on how e-commerce shops have to look, like because what I felt like is these, I don't know, if you put like a social proof, if you put urgency, whatever, it always looked the same. It looked very bad. It looked like it was just put in randomly, and didn't, have any thoughts on branding. And what I imagined always is there has to be a better way. There has to be a way in which a online store looks like that's how it's supposed to be, but also has these psychological principles that increase conversion rate. Yeah, so one example of that, which I believe, or I have not seen before, we did it first. I think maybe not. I don't think there is a judge on that. Is like a kind of a liking test. So I mean, you might know the Instagram when you have an image on the bottom, you see, like Samuel and 300 other people like that image, and we did the same for literally the product page, right? We just said this influencer and 300 other people love this product. And that worked for some brands very good. For some brands, it really doesn't. So it's not a no-brainer. But if you have the right signals that signal you that this can work, this is an amazing test. And it also looks cool, right? It's like, for me, that's also a big part, because that's what a lot of people want to have a store that just looks nice, but also performs. Like they don't have just like randomly assorted kind of elements in their store that performs very well. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we gotta get shit for that. Every time we post something on LinkedIn and we say we are the inventors of that, we're getting shit for it.
It's
But
like we're not
we
the
probably can prove
inventors,
it. Yeah,
because Instagram did it
we
first. Like,
just stole it from them. But I think that's like we also talk about LinkedIn videos first. My first video on LinkedIn, if you want to look it up, like I did something, I don't know, I was 16, 17 back then. I recorded a video quoting Steve Jobs: "Good artists copy, great artists steal." I mean, I think the quote is still true to today, but you just gotta adapt what you steal. And that's, I think, what we did really good in like it was during COVID, I think, 2021, 2022. We tried figuring out what is TikTok doing, what is Snapchat doing, what is Facebook doing, especially with Instagram, how they are trying to get users to engage. Just try to steal and like some features and use them in a way that it makes sense for e-com brands. Because I mean, like most of the brands we worked with back then were D2C brands. like mostly scale-ups and startups, very dependent on Instagram traffic and Facebook traffic. So you also had like if you think about Don't Make Me Think, like you also had like the seamless flow from that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that, yeah, that was like insanely crazy time of innovation. I know how, like we had so many different concepts that I'm sure we introduced to the German market. Like story menu, I think we were one of like, we made it quite big, tested across all the clients we had, posted like all the time on LinkedIn about it. Now I recently saw there's like there are some apps on the Shopify App Store that literally have like, I would say like, sorry to say, like 60-70% of the sections like what we did for Snox and tested for them, which is like crazy. But just like the magnitude that impact this period had. But yeah, that was like that part. But then I think we went a little bit too hard on the scientific part. Like we maybe can go into depth with that. I think statistic-wise, no one can challenge us anymore. We know it in and out. I think you would agree with that. But we sort of lost the track of what the main goal of CRO and testing is, and it is to make more money for businesses. And statistics is a tool for risk management. But we listened, that maybe was the part. Some corporate people started giving us shit on LinkedIn for our statistics. Then we had like a mid-sized company request our services, and we figured out, oh shit, like statistic-wise, they're just ahead of us. And then maybe probably you can go into depth, the rabbit hole. And yeah, we lost focus on the innovation part a little bit and coming up with new features, and focused way too much on having the right statistics.
Yeah. I think there's like an 80-20 to statistics, right? And also here we just bought experts, right? We just had consulting calls with Georgie. I don't think he does them anymore. And we just saw, okay, this is what we do. Just roast us to the end of eternity and say like, and he did. So he, looked at our statistics, like, you guys are the worst. I'm like, well, probably not, but thank you for telling us. And then we just literally did what he told us. And he's a very kind guy, so he helped us just improving that, seeing the flaws that we had. No test planning, no proper estimations. Yeah, a lot of things that we just found out and are now aware of. And once you're aware of them, you cannot unlearn it. But as Samuel told, I think we went a bit too extreme, which I think now that we know it, it's good that we did, because now we're aware. But yeah, there is definitely a thing where like statistics for making a study on something and statistics for optimizing the Snog store should be different, because the goals are just different. We are not 100% focused on finding out what really works, or mostly focused on making the client more money. Because even if you say, I want to really find out and make money, it's like, yeah, but you can't have both things. So it's kind of like these, yeah, you have to find the middle ground there and see for, the brand that you're optimizing for, what risk can I support in order to have the money part also not suffer from it.
Yeah, maybe two things I'm gonna add there. Like I think the bigger the brand gets, like we have some clients now that have like $1 billion in revenue a year. So yes, obviously for them statistics are a little bit more important, because you want to minimize that you don't lose money with a test. Like you do more work in that, you have like more sequential tests, like as a backup plan, you might have fixed times for faster results, etc. But if you're an ecom brand that's doing, let's say, like 30-40 million, like still a lot of money, like 30-40 million a year, you don't need, like, you just need the statistics for the risk management to be sure what, like, in the worst case, if the test is like a false positive, which means like your testing tool tells you the test is a winner, and statistics say the test is a winner, but then there's like a small error margin that the test actually is neutral or loser. But the probability that this test is going to lose your brand like tens of thousands of euros a month is like so slim that you should be able to live with that. And I think most people forget that like statistics is just a risk management tool. Sorry for that, still recovering from COVID. But yeah, statistics is just a risk management tool. and you should understand it, but like most brands and brand owners, they're not going to go into depth like we did. And I think that's fine, because that's our like job as an agency and as experts to do it. But then it's also the job to figure out what level do they need, like what level of statistics do they need at which level.
I like that. Yeah. Maybe moving on to maybe let's say a bit on a COVID time, because I don't know for you, but for me, COVID, I never had COVID, was the most productive time I've ever had in my life, because like it was back then we were really like innovative. We were testing a lot. We were both still doing projects. We were hustling a lot, and I think that was the phase where we were really like always talking about, how can we just do like this signaling theory, and then what Instagram does, and just put it into what Snox is doing, and like really just thinking out of the box on how something should really look. That was a really good time. Like that was a really uplifting time for me, at least, because the WeWork was always empty. So we had like so much just focus time.
Yeah, I loved COVID until I got banned from WeWork. So shout out WeWork. If you hear that, I'd love to get unbanned. I'd love to pay you money. But no, for everyone that doesn't know, I have a lifetime global ban from WeWork, unfortunately.
You're gonna tell that story though.
Now it's public. Yeah, so it was an accident. I'm gonna put that first. Like, no people were harmed. Nothing was done on purpose. I hope I'm not gonna go to jail for that or get fined. I'm not gonna care. Should be long enough in the past. But what we did, like, the WeWork had like open doors to the rooftop, and they always seemed like we were just allowed to go. There were no signs or nothing, so we quite often went to the rooftop. And yeah, during COVID, security had nothing to do, so looked at the cameras. And yeah, they saw that I was going up there. Then one day, I remembered it was the first Shopify online webinar during COVID. And during I was giving the speech, like this one lady that was like managing the WeWork in Berlin, I pretty sure she came to me and she just looked at me like really serious. I was like, what the hell? Because I was giving a talk. She just like took the paper with like that I have a ban, like turn it around, put it on the table next to me, and just showed there, look at it after you finished. And I looked at it, it was like sort of saying, leave now, you're banned for XYZ, your membership is cancelled, you cannot reapply, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but then I mostly worked from home. That back then we were living together. Was like, honestly,
Worst decision ever.
Very worst decision ever. For every co-founder team out there, don't do that. You're gonna go crazy. You're gonna go nuts. I mean, we like each other. We like to work with each other, but you need breaks. Not healthy. But yeah, also was one of the most productive times. It's funny because right now, like, I think we're both back in the mode of like innovating. We're both like way more involved with projects again. So I think that also was a big mistake. Like, they tell you once you grow, you need management levels and everything in between, but you always still need some part on projects, or you always need to learn new things. That's also what makes you happy.
Yeah, for sure. And then after COVID, I don't know, what was the time then? Yeah, we moved to Mannheim, had the office there. What was the focus, like the CRO focus that we had there?
Airtable.
Yeah.
So we do have to. That's also the thing. I mean, we're trying to unlearn our Airtable structure currently and like try to reinvent it. So I mean, you're always gonna change. You're always gonna improve. But back then we were doing CRO in Google Sheets, which sucked because back then Google Sheets did not have the features it has today. Like, you couldn't even tag people. Your integrations weren't that good. So we went to Airtable and like started automating as many of the things we could. You got a nerd in Python and started coding like applications for internal use. I don't think like most people know that, but you probably built like, I don't know, 20, 25 tools for internal use, which all are like insane. Like, I think some of them should have one of the videos I did yesterday, I showed it, I think, with the Lego breakdown. Yeah, that was the focus. Like, maybe you can go into depth on like why you think it's so important, like why it's so important to like. I mean, we're using like your tools just like get data, interpret it faster. Like, maybe your opinion on that. Because back then I was like heavily advocating for more research. That was one of the reasons we got Airtable, because we could categorize research in there and prioritize tests. But yeah, I think your way of thinking is a little bit different. And 3 years later, I think it's more effective than my way of thinking.
Thank you. I think they're like both fair points, and meeting in the middle here is probably the right way. But with Airtable, like maybe going to Airtable a bit, it was definitely I didn't like it at first, and you were pushing it, and I have to say I was 100% wrong on hating on Airtable because I think it's a great tool. Like and also how we implement it is I cannot think of a way in which we don't work with Airtable, just because yeah, it's so ingrained in our process. We have like literally everything is documented in there. It's yeah, it's the way if you like manage a bigger CRO program or more CRO programs, then you have to have a way of documenting it. And in 80% of the times, that has to be Airtable. Like, I don't think there's a tool that does it better. Maybe like, I don't know, Trello, but who the fuck uses Trello anyways? So yeah, I'm a big advocate of Airtable. It's gotten really expensive, which I don't like, but yeah, that was definitely a big thing. We had a lot of consulting calls with Ruben back then. And he brought us a bit onto the Airtable kind of thing. He basically built out the first structure also with us, and we improved from then. And what we didn't know, and like second order consequences, is that Airtable is very easy and good to work with when it comes to like APIs and building applications on it and doing stuff, which helped me a lot to automate a lot of stuff that we are doing, where there are like no tools out there for it because it's so specific. And yeah, so that's definitely helped a lot in just us improving the efficiency also, because we were back then, I don't know, like how many tests did we run back then? Maybe 30 to 40 a month.
No, but like if we're talking about 2022, I mean, also have to say we had different pricing models back then in 2021, 2022, so it was way smaller scale than right now.
True.
I think the max maybe was like 20 tests, 15 to 20 tests. So yeah, like we did not have a lot of knowledge on all the tech stuff. Shout out to Milan who built the entire thing. So that was also a big part of like Airtable and the process behind it. Like he helped us like get more efficient, because we also didn't like we had no fucking idea. Sorry for the cursing and words here, but like we had no idea how to optimize processes back then. But yeah, like it definitely helped us. Like I don't know, we're doing close to no, I don't even know how many tests we do. Like it depends on the month, I'd say, and what season. But way more with a team that's not much bigger, honestly.
Yeah.
Like the people are working on the projects. I think most people underestimate that. Just yesterday, I saw another like text message. Someone was asking like if he can do zero in-house with one person, like doing everything. Like yeah, if you want to do 1 or 2 tests a month, you can. But there's so much more stuff going in on the backside. You don't see like managing. Like if you want to take it serious, like you need to manage it. You need someone like to set up the tools. You need statistic knowledge. You need knowledge of how to build the Airtable process and system, because I don't know, in 6 months, if you do more tests, you want to know what have you tested already. And I do remember very clearly, for example, for Snox, before we had like Airtable, there were like times where we had tested like things twice sometimes. I think there were like 1 or 2 occasions, because we just didn't know, did we test it already or did we not test it? So because it just gets lost, like you don't have any structure. It's okay, but like you gotta learn from mistakes. And then in micro applications that you talk about, I mean, like it's crazy, like what you can do. You have like 1 button press, and pretty much you can get a draft for an entire ticket, and like written in user stories, acceptance criteria, or also research. I think research is one of the craziest things we've done for us. Like how fast we get data and how good it is for what we like. Because that's the thing, like you can push data into GPT, but if the prompt and like how the data is being interpreted is not I mean, GPT, like it's hit or miss, like it's hallucinating so much, and like you need to fine tune it. I have no idea like what you've done with the prompts, how you did them, but every time I need data for a shop, it takes me literally like 45 seconds to get an understanding of the target group. And that used to take us like 8 hours of like surveys and manually interpreting stuff. So
For sure, yeah. It was a lot of data cleaning, like a lot of fine tuning and data cleaning. The stuff that nobody wants to do, and everybody's like, yeah, I'm gonna upload it into GPT, and I'm like, yeah, cool, do that. So yeah, but I think that's a big topic for maybe another one. And then okay, after Mannheim, so
you moved back to Berlin.
yeah, moved
I
back to
stayed in
Berlin.
Mannheim.
You stayed in Mannheim, and now you're living in Italy, right?
Not completely. Less than 6 months in a year. Majority still in Germany. But yeah, girlfriend does a master's here, so have a little recording studio from here.
And what's the focus now for you?
Focus now is analyzing online shops and posting about it again. Like that's the thing I think also crazy learning. Like that. Then we try to learn something new every single day and just post about it. We sort of lost that in 2022, 2023. And there was a time we didn't even post on LinkedIn, which is crazy to me. Because we were already big back then, like not that big as now, but like 15, 20,000 followers in the German market.
Yeah.
For CRO. Focus now is just figuring out how to optimize shops fast, to be honest, and like how to come up with ideas that are good. And just again, stealing from brands that do things good. Like you can steal from everyone, but you need to, like, just don't copy paste, but you need to like copy, adapt, paste.
What's your current stance on like CRO and how you evolved on how you think about CRO now?
I used to think that CRO and optimizations get better the more research you do, the more time you put into it. With I feel like honestly AI and GPT and large language models changed a lot on that because there are like so many more opportunities. And now I also think like your focus should be just like trying to get as much initial information as you can. I mean, we're getting like we both are reading a lot into like more advanced marketing stuff. Like usually you come up with it, then you send it to me what you think is relevant. That's what I have to say. Like you're always the one that comes up with like these genius books. So yeah, like how brands grow, category entry points. Did a lot of reading on that, maybe too much. Got some shit from me because I did nothing else than read for an entire month. Yeah, that also happens. Like true life of being a founder, like sometimes can have you just start reading and keep reading, but you don't have any output anymore.
Yep.
But yeah, it helped because now I'm just trying to think, how can I use like all the tools you built? How can I understand CPs from different companies? How do they optimize? I mean, I'm looking at all sorts of like, looked at Ray-Ban, looked at Meta the other day, trying to figure out how, for example, now how Tesla's selling cars directly. Like that's a crazy thing. Tesla's only selling online, but they do like, I don't have the revenue. I think it's like 65 billion, the car segment, what they do. Let's just imagine like having an online shop of 65 billion in revenue, and like the funnels are so freaking easy. But then if you go deeper, you realize, for example, the different products and costs they have. Like Tesla's going crazy. Like they probably didn't think about CPs. They just understand their customers very good. But they have different personas, and the different personas have different entry points. Like the Cybertruck is just for the, sorry to say, like Americans probably, like more to the hardcore people, and also people that wouldn't want to get a normal truck. But then you have like, oh, it's a Cybertruck, it's crazy. So you get some people that want a truck.
Yep.
Then the, let's say, Model S or Roadster. That's like the high ends that usually would buy a Porsche maybe, and they'll like status-wise, they don't want to be seen as the rich assholes, something like that. So it's like, you're green, you can't get shit for that. Then the Model 3 is just like the regulars that want to have a safe, or Model X as well. Family has like better financial situation, that wants a safe car. Model X can't tip and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just interesting to understand that, like, if you read about it and you figure out how every product is tailored towards an audience, and then how every landing page or product page shows the different features, and then try to figure out, okay, how can we use like these insights, how these big brands and big corporations doing marketing for like tech. I mean, it's like nothing new. Like we also have to say that it's just most people don't try to adapt it, and it's very abstract information. So we try to break it down and make it usable for smaller brands. That's what I'm looking at right now. So a lot of what are the CPs, and then how does the funnel work? And also, I mean, like for example, I just did the Lego breakdown. Lego does not have a funnel. They have like a generational acquisition engine and retention engine. Like I don't know if you ever like, I guess you played with Lego anyway, like a kid as well. But you're not even making the choice to play with Lego. Your parents make the choice for you, or like someone that gifts it to you. So
point, yeah.
someone else, like, you're getting acquired by Lego. You don't have to pay for Lego when you're a child. Like your parents get it for you, and you're just like super excited. And then I mean, you got to know my Lego obsession. I spent a little bit too much money on it in the past 12 months. Started my girlfriend gifting me a Lego Porsche. And then you realize, like, I mean, like, it's still expensive. I bought like some other stuff, like, I don't know, I bought a yacht that was way too expensive,
Lego
like
yacht,
1,000
right?
euros.
Or no?
Yeah, I paid like 1,000 euros for the pizzas because you have to hunt for them. But that's the thing. Like now I'm like in a target group for Lego where I can spend more money, but they have like such a good brand relationship with me. That even like, I mean, there are some YouTubers out there, like in Germany, there's one guy called Hero of the Stones, and he's like giving Lego crap in every single video. It's telling like how other brands are better. But I'm still like, well, yeah, it's true, but I don't care. Like, it's just like the products they do, and I want to have like the childlike feeling.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, just when I did the Lego breakdown, I ended up spending like 250 euros on the rocket I showed you before. Like, I bought the Lego or like NASA space system, like first rocket to the moon, and I was like, small notch, like it has retiring soon on it. And then I was like, damn it, that is too good. Like, and that's how they convert it though. Like they get it from a child, and like maybe for some years when you're like, I don't know, hardcore grinding like us, or you're in college, university, don't have a lot of money, you don't buy it. But then once you rediscover it, you're like, well, you pay 200 euros, 250 euros. It's an exhibition set. You can like show it to people. Like it has a place in an apartment, but also you have like 20 hours of building time that you need for these things. So you're also like, well, it's not too bad. I'm like, it's like going to the spa just like for your head. So that's what I'm looking into. Like, how do these brands get out of just a regular online shop? Because I think that's way more important and gonna get more important to think outside the box. Also, like landing page wise, like Lego owns like 3 different pre-sale landing pages, after sale landing pages. And I think that's something, I mean, we discussed it already. We're gonna get into that, and we're working on some neat things here. But I think that's gonna be big in the next 3 to 5 years, or even longer, if you can figure out how to retain audiences with specific digital products.
Yeah. I like the approach. It's more like a hands-on approach that, just dissecting and going into like doing a breakdown with a broader field of vision now that we have a lot of other insights, other books that we other viewpoints, so now we can dissect a brand in so many different ways that we might figure out why are they successful. So I like it. I think the breakdowns have been successful, right? Like people like them, so that's good.
Yeah, it's great feedback. On average, like people download 5 or more breakdowns once they have one. I mean, we're growing all the time, so good for first content retention. But let's see how it's going, and just love doing that. Like, learned so many things about it. That's exciting outlook. Covered a lot of topics today.
Yeah.
Good having you back. Definitely gonna do some more shows together, I think.
Let's do it.
Some breakdowns.
Yeah,
I think people are gonna
with us too.
Yeah, I think people want to see how we think about shops. Like, I keep forgetting how much we know about online shops. Like, that's a classic imposter syndrome, I think. But yeah, just realized now again, like talking, like how many things we actually covered in like 5 years. That's seen.
Good journey, yeah.
Yeah, let's keep going, man. Excited for the next one.
Let's do it. Cheers.
Let's do it. Yes.